I, 23M, caught my wife, 24F, having an emotional affair with one of my friends. So let me put this into context. I have been with my wife for 5 years now, and for the majority of our relationship it has been positive. There was one time where she slipped up early in our relationship, where she had exchanged nudes with this guy in our friend group. She confessed to me not long after it happened and immediately cut the guy off. I still loved her, so I thought it would be worth it trying to get through it. Fast forward until December of 2023, I was noticing my wife feeling a little lonely when I'd be playing video games. So I decided to add her to my group so she could join me when she felt like it. She ended up adding this guy who I will name Jason. I noticed they would talk to each other every day on Snapchat. However, I felt like I trusted her enough to not be that crazy kind of person to go through phones. Now, over a month ago, we had a moment where we were contemplating divorce, and we ended up deciding we would take a break away from each other. So I went to stay at my parents' home for about a week and came back on the weekend. Immediately during our time apart, I noticed the difference in our relationship. It felt like we both were a lot more loving and were trying harder when we came back together. One night I knew she had friends over for drinks, and I didn't have a problem with it. Over the last few months, she's made a habit of having friends over when I have work on the weekend. One of these nights I came home because I was sent home because the work medic thought I may have COVID because I had a high fever. I come home to my wife over the toilet not feeling well. I do everything I can to make her feel better, getting her some water and some light food. After a while she goes and joins her friends outside again. A random thought occurred to me that she hadn't been wearing her rings, which wasn't uncommon for her as her fingers can get pretty swollen when she wears them all the time. So I checked her sliding drawer of her bedside and there they were. What I wasn't expecting was to see a note. It said, "I love you, Jason," and the word fuck underneath it. My mind immediately thought the worst, and I did everything in my power to control myself and not get angry. I walked outside and asked her if she could have a chat and brought her back into our bedroom. I showed her the note, and at first she tried to play it off like it was a joke that she had done. But with the drink she had, it was a lot easier to get the truth out of her, and she confessed that she and these guys had exchanged pictures as well. I was shattered. Immediately I was angry, and I said I was done. She broke my trust again, and I was ready to leave. But for whatever reason, there was a part of me that still loved her and thought, we are married. And that married couples work hard to get through these problems. So that's what I did. I stayed and tried to work through this issue, and she was extra affectionate and loving and positive on working on being the best wife she could be. As the days went on, I started to blame myself. Was I that horrible of a husband that she had to seek comfort in another man? Was I really the problem? Little did I know, she hadn't cut this guy off even though she claimed to have. One night I found a message on her phone from a number I hadn't recognized. The message had love hearts and X's, so I was ready to lose it. I composed myself, saved the number on my phone, and called it the next day. I called on no caller ID, and when I heard who was on the other side, my heart dropped. It was Jason. I was crushed and confronted her immediately. Now my wife, she has some mental issues. She has episodes where she loses all sense of reality, and one night it got so bad she tried to end her life. Now I wasn't aware of this, but she said Jason was the one that was able to get her to stop, and because of this she wasn't able to so easily cut him off, and said she only kept contact because she felt entitled to and didn't want him to worry. She also said she didn't tell me because she knew I'd get angry about it. I said I understood, but said as of now, I don't want you talking to him, especially as we are trying to keep our relationship. The same night I was up late and my mind couldn't stop thinking, and I stumbled across this TikTok of a couple in the street. And the guy showed them you could see recently deleted messages with people on iMessage. So that's what I did. Immediately I saw it said only 27 messages had been deleted. So I believed her when she said that she had only been checking with him and letting him know she was okay. I then pressed recover messages to make sure, and there it was. Messages leading all the way up until tonight. Her sending photos with him, both of them flirting and claiming their love for each other. I was shattered, broken. I didn't bother waiting and woke her up. I was done. I called her out for being a liar and a manipulative and horrible person. She begged me to stay, bawled her eyes out as I was walking around grabbing all my stuff to pack and leave that night. For whatever reason, I couldn't go. I needed to know why. She herself said that she didn't know, and even in the messages she's telling the guy about how our relationship is doing so much better, and then messages later they are talking about him taking her clothes off. It makes me sick. I remember being angry and then going blank. I woke up on the floor to her asking if I needed to call my family or call anyone. I was dazed but didn't answer. She claimed she couldn't lose me and said she would out herself to the public of what she had done, ruin her reputation, anything to save us. She claimed her mental health was so bad, and that when she was with me she felt as though that was the real her, and then the one that was talking to him was another person entirely. Whether or not that's an excuse, I said I'll see if this can be saved. I'm sitting here laying in bed, thinking and knowing I deserve better. But part of me is afraid of what she'll do if I leave her. We don't have any children together, but we have animals, and they have bonded, so I would be heartbroken to separate them. What do I do, and should I be running? Or am I right to stick around and try and make things work after she gets diagnosed and sees a therapist for her mental health?